Thank you so much for your time today. First of all, I'm so excited about this because I also Malignant was one of my favorite movies this year.
Wow.
And now Silent Night is great. So yeah, I'm gonna dive right in. So first,
Great.
I just wanted to ask what drew you to Silent Night, the script specifically, and the character of Sandra. What drew you into that?
Um, I think first off, it was just everything was on the page. It was so emotional, thought-provoking, in a time that we're having so many kind of important conversations. There was a script that was trying to do that with humor and yeah, and uncomfortable characters. And I think for me to play Sandra, who is kind of such an honest but deeply uncomfortable character to watch, but so much fun to play. And I seek those out if I can. They don't come along often. So that's what, yeah, it was all on the page. So that's what drew me.
Yeah, and like I said, you've had a really major year this year with Malignant, and then I also saw you in Warning, which was great, and then
Oh, thank
um,
you.
yeah, and so you filmed, I think it was Malignant first, right? And then you transitioned into Silent Night. So what was that transition from like Madison, who is this like really empathetic character, to Sandra, who is just not so empathetic?
Um, I think that was just, it made it all the more exciting to do, as an actor. I think the chance to get to really stretch yourself. I went from, quite a troubled, like introverted character, and then to Sandra, who is, quite gauche and quite loud, and yeah, I just was up for the challenge. I thought, when do you get to play real polar opposite characters so back to back? And, I'm sure people are going to think I have multiple personality disorder at some point, but that's okay. I don't mind.
Gabriel's actually up in there somewhere.
Yeah, influencing Sandra.
But yeah, and then from top to bottom, I mean, Silent Night has like such a stellar cast, and all of you guys have such like a rich history with each other. And I'd imagine that it was quite a quick production, I mean, you're all in one location, so it was probably rather fast, but those connections felt so real between you guys. So how did you guys like play into that bond? How did you guys figure out that bond when there was like so many of you? And
I think when you work on a film, when you come to a project with a similar intention, and I think all of us, the intention was to be part of something we felt was really great from the get-go. And yeah, then the great fortune to have one location and get time to spend with each other. We had some rehearsals and we had to talk about some of the uncomfortable themes. And, I'm such a big fan of Keira Knightley, and I was just so excited. So I just used the truth. And I was so enamored by, Lily Rose-Depp and Kirby and Lucy Punch. I've been a fan of for so long. So for me, it was just like a dream, Matthew Good and Soppe. I mean, it was just, yeah, it was such an easy group to get along with. They're all so great. So yeah, I think it's when the work is good, it attracts the people that are there for the right reasons. And then it's easy from that point.
yeah, and like you said, you've got this stellar cast. It looks like you're having a blast. You guys are kind of like partying on this Christmas night, and despite like the heavy subject matter, it just looked like a lot of fun. And so I was wondering, like, as an actor, how do you kind of balance these heady subject matters with like this great experience, and this you're supposed to be happy, but also this really kind of somber overtone of the entire film?
I think, the best way to handle uncomfortable conversations is to try to give it a bit of humor, to try to be light about it, to try to keep it doused in hope. And I think that's where, I really connected with Camille, is that she has such a lovely, natural way of tackling things with the delicacy of humor. And I, again, working with Roman, and he had been on Jojo Rabbit, and that was such an example of a film that dealt with very difficult subject in a very light way, and how audiences responded to that, and I think it's, considering that we're such a generation that's so saturated with like these hard truths truths. I think slightly more effective now to just go in a bit lighter and to come in more gently. I don't know if I answered your question, but
No, yeah. No, you totally did. Yeah, and then I think that's what's so interesting about Silent Night, and one of its strengths is that, you know, it is an apocalyptic movie, but it doesn't play into that like bombast disaster, and it really encapsulates a lot of themes that are on the minds of a lot of people today, you know, specifically with climate change and then classism and racism, and then now with the pandemic too. So did you feel like a certain duty to sort of like sign on to this film and kind of like tell this message, or like communicate this message in a way that, you know, people are going to sit down and watch the film and not necessarily expect it, but come away with so much more?
Yeah, I definitely, when you talk of duty, I definitely feel that. I feel like we're in an age in cinema at the moment where we are really like asked to say something with the work that we do. And so I know for myself, I feel indebted to, you know, trying in the way I can, but also making it a place for escapism for people. So I just loved how this project merged those two important factors. You know, we're saying something, this is an important through line throughout, there's an important message here, but you can escape through it, and there is a through line to you and your loved ones, and the way you relate, and how complex and complicated life is and humans are, and the celebration of it all. So yeah, that's
Yeah. And then, I mean, and like I said, there's this like added context with the pandemic. You know, it was, I feel like, started out about environmentalism, but, you know, the pandemic definitely added a certain context to Silent Night and a lot of films that have come out and since been shot. And so what is that feeling like finally having Silent Night come out into the world? And then you have this added context, this added relevance that really makes it able to resonate with audiences on a level that you didn't even know it would when you signed on.
Well, firstly, you know, we were shooting as the pandemic was kind of getting worse and worse. So it was like life, art imitating life. And I think that was quite overwhelming. And some of the, you know, the heightened, you know, feeling in the film was definitely because, you know, we didn't know if we would get back to work the next day, or if the world was going to be shut down at the end of the week. So, you know, I think it's come at the right time. I think the way in which the film handles, you know, this idea of the world ending is something that, yes, the audience can really relate with. And it leaves you the question, like, what are we all going to do about it? Like, how are we going to move forward? What would you do? Who would you be? And I think any film that asks you those deeper questions is an important one. But it definitely felt, it was strange how it was, you know, it was mimicking the world that was, you know, was what it was happening around us. You know, the themes in the movie were right then and there, in like day to day. We didn't know if we would go back to work or we were going to get COVID, you know, but luckily we were all very safe. But yeah, important because of that. And I'm excited that it's out, and I'm excited that people get a chance to see something that is really relevant, you know?
Yeah. And then I had one more question about the exit pill specifically. What would you do on your like final night if you were to take the exit pill?
Oh my God. Well, firstly, I'm a contrarian, so I'd probably not take it. But
you and Art would be in the living room.
I'd be like, come on, Art, let's go. But oh my God, I'd be with the ones I love. I'd dance, I'd sing, I'd have the best night of my life. And I hope it never happens. That's basically what I hope for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And then before I go, I just need to ask, because I was a huge fan, have you and James Wan talked about a Malignant 2 yet?
We have.
Oh. Okay. Well, that's
there's many ideas swirling around. Yeah, we were very, very flattered by the reception, and I think taken aback by the reception. So yeah, there's lots of conversations happening.
Awesome. Well, that is amazing to hear. Thank you so much for your time today, Annabelle. I really appreciate it. I'm so excited for people to see you in yet another great movie this year. I hope you have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye now.
Bye.